notice that it is very messy right now in my apartment. And the reason for the messiness is because the next 3 days are also going to be very messy. Today's Sunday. Monday afternoon, I have a final exam for one of my courses, and Tuesday night, I have another exam for another course. And then Wednesday night, we are moving to Copenhagen for 5 weeks. So within the next 3 days, I need to pack for that sort of short-term move, study for these exams, and after we go to Copenhagen for 5 weeks, we are going immediately to see my aunt and dad. So also be prepared for that trip, which will happen immediately after Copenhagen. I usually have a problem with procrastinating. I procrastinate a lot, and when it comes to bigger stuff like this, procrastinating can lead to massive headaches. I'm doing my best not to procrastinate by trying to pack as much as I can now while I study. And yeah, given this is a bit of a different trip than normal trips, my trips are just for a few days, but this one's going to be for 5 weeks. It's going to probably lead to a different pace of video, but maybe it'll be a bit more relaxed and be fun. Let's get packing. First thing that's a bit of a headache is I need to wash all my laundry before this trip, and I don't have a dryer because they're very common in Europe, it seems. So I need to wash it and then let it sit here for 6 to 7 hours with my windows open as it dries out. We are one exam done. We have another exam tomorrow. The Oilers are playing at 2 a.m. tonight, or tomorrow morning, and it's Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And as a Canadian, having never witnessed a Canadian team win the Stanley Cup since I've existed, I can't miss that game. And after we did some stuff for taxes, which is even worse. So nothing we can do about it, but let's just finish the exams and get going. We are done our last final, but yeah, completing the first year of this master's program, which is crazy. It feels like I just started it and I'm already halfway done. And we have just under 24 hours to finish up with packing. Then we'll be going to Copenhagen. It feels crazy. I weighed the suitcase. We're exactly at 20 kilos, which is what the Ryanair limit is for a checked bag. So it's 20 kilos instead of the normal 23 kilos. I always have this feeling that I'm forgetting something, but I can't figure out what it is. And typically I don't figure it out until I get there. And we're done. So we got this bag all packed, we got that bag all packed. All my obligations are done. I had my last call like 15 minutes ago. I can just turn the page and enjoy the upside of the excitement of going there and make the most of it. It's always one thing. I knew I'd forget one thing. Welcome to Copenhagen. We've been here 2 days now, and first impression is that it's a really cool place. The weather was really nice when I got here. It was like 20-something degrees, so that's perfect. I walked from my residence into the city center, which took me about an hour, but the whole path it just had beautiful buildings, and there's lots of green space, which is really surprising, like a massive amount of green space. I'm here in June, or late June, and I flew in, or landed at like 9:30 p.m. And so I got to the accommodation, like the residence that I'm staying at, about 10:30. And when I got there, it was still completely bright out. So given how north we are, how late the sun sets is really trippy, and also how early it rises. So the past couple of days, it's risen, I think at like 4 a.m. or so. And they don't have blackout covers on the windows. They don't have blackout curtains on the windows, so the light gets in, and then it kind of sort of naturally wakes you up at like 5 or 6 a.m. So you'll wake up and it'll feel like 11 or it'll feel like 10 a.m. or something, but it's really just 5 or 6 a.m. So it's a little trippy and might take a while to get used to. But the upside is it feels like it's bright all the time. Like the days are so long, it's really, really cool. You can probably hear that. So when they graduate, I guess they get these white sailor hats, and they all get into these old retro trucks with massive back ends, and then just drive around the city, blasting music and cheering, and it's kind of funny, kind of cool. So I spent the whole day in the city walking around taking photos, and I think I've seen 20 of these trucks drive by. So it's kind of cute. Beyond that, the other thing you notice right away when you come here is just the cost of everything. I knew Copenhagen, or I heard Copenhagen was an expensive city before coming here, but being here, you sort of see how intense that is. Like eating out, it's hard to find anything that isn't just instantly €15, 20 some Canadian. And even the flatmates, roommates, I'm talking about paying for pasta sauce at the grocery store and spending like €7 on it. So not looking forward to that over the next month, but since we are here for a month, I went ahead and bought this basketball for €15, which I was really surprised to find. So at least this was not too expensive. It's also very windy, if you haven't noticed already. Somehow this palace area has turned out to be one of the quieter places that I can sit down and talk. It feels a bit weird talking too much in public, so I like these quieter areas more. So a few more days have passed since I started walking around taking photos, and in those days Copenhagen had a really good, nice first impression, and that impression has only gotten better over the past few days. A couple of things that really helped that. First is there are a bunch of bikes around. Now that I have a bike, I get why they're so popular, because it's so easy to get everywhere you want to go in within minutes. I didn't buy a bike on my own because that doesn't really make sense if I'm only here for a few weeks, but there's a service where you basically can rent bikes on demand, and it's like about €30 for 2 hours of free biking every day. So which is more than enough for me, and it takes only like 10 minutes to go from the residence into the city center with bike, so that's really nice. And since the last time I spoke, I also had my first classes. Those classes were really nice. The profs were really good, and it really highlighted how it's the profs that make the courses. For the one I had on Thursday, we basically did sort of an experiment together, and basically he explained how the experiment we did as a group related to the lecture's content and the pre-reading and stuff that we had to do, and it took about like 20 minutes before I recognized he didn't even have slides that I feel every prof has had for the past forever since I've been in university. So he was just talking for 20-25 minutes, and he was just so engaging in the way that he spoke that the time just kind of disappeared, and he was really entertaining to listen to, which can be difficult to do sometimes as a prof. Yeah, so really enjoying my courses. Also, when you're in this sort of exchange environment, you're meeting so many new people from so many different places so quickly, and you just end up talking about anything and everything, and it's so cool getting a perspective on things from someone who had a completely different upbringing and completely different introduction to certain topics and perspective on certain topics. So, and then even before coming here, I had to go to the film store to pick up a new roll and drop off the first photos I took with gold. Yeah, and even the guy in the film store I was talking to was explaining to me about the different unique films that they had in the store, and the one that I have in the camera now is apparently another roll of movie film that got repurposed and re-rolled. So yeah, I have to be one of my favorite things, just talking to people from different places and getting to know, like learning about really everything from film to history to free will and all this stuff. So it's really cool. Maybe one time when I have a conversation with a stranger, I'll include them in the video. But it's a bit different when you're talking just sort of spontaneously with someone and making a video out of it. So we'll see. So on the way to the shop that I'm trying to get fireworks, I guess. On the way to the shop that I'm getting to right now, there's a graveyard. I don't know how I keep ending up in graveyards in these videos, but it's so active and so busy. Like I think it's so many people just using it as a way to like get to where they need to go, that it feels really like warm and nice and like active here, which you don't really get in graveyards. Like the main area, it's just so many people going about their day, which is really nice. So the thing with Danish weather is it is kind of like my dream weather, to be honest. Like I'm not a hot weather kind of guy, and it's early July right now and it's like low 20s for the past few days. But what does happen is just random downpours. Like I took a 10-minute bike ride to get to the shop I wanted to go look at, and I had to stop 3 times to avoid a downpour. So surprising. So that is 3 weeks and 2 rolls of film in Copenhagen. I have one more roll of black and white film that's currently in the camera, but I kind of want to have a habit or a cadence of uploading every 2 or 3 weeks. So I think I'm going to edit this video now, and if on the last roll of film that I have in there's any cool shots, maybe I'll add a part 2 to Copenhagen, which I wasn't really anticipating to do, but given I am here for 6 weeks, maybe it makes sense. I only have a week and a half left, so the time really just disappeared, and it was a really great experience overall. I got really lucky with my roommates, really lucky with my courses. The cost is a bit of a headache. Yeah, next we're going to Amsterdam. Hope you enjoyed it.